has to say. All right, here we go.
The different labs throughout the world?
There are, and sometimes it's a cause for concern. After there was some publicity to accidental releases at the CDC facilities and other facilities in 2014, and after the Ebola outbreak in 2014, the U.S. stopped funding this gain-of-function work. The NIH did, but they made exceptions.
All right. Now. Y'all remember, those of you who've been watching Alpha Synergy News, y'all remember I told y'all about a moratorium on these bioweapons labs in the United States in 2014, 2015. Remember that? Remember I told y'all about that? That's what he's talking about right there. He's talking about there was a moratorium on this stuff. Okay, you had this sudden outbreak of Ebola. Okay, these cats around spreading this stuff, starting this stuff. That was a moratorium. All right. Then 2015, when this moratorium was placed on it in the United States, the lab in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, had already produced SARS-2. That's right. What is known now as COVID-19. They had already done it. But then there was a moratorium on all of that. So what did Anthony Fauci, what did he do? He moved additional research to Wuhan in China. That's what he did. And he sent $3.7 million to Wuhan. It was also a way of being able to point the finger at China. Oh, there's an outbreak of influenza. This new influenza is deadly in Wuhan, China. So you had Americans. Oh, China did it. Oh, the bats. Blamed it on the bat. That's right. Oh, but let's continue on with Mr. Husseini here.
One of the exceptions that they made involved work done by the University of North Carolina and the center, the Virology Center in Wuhan, as well as Harvard University. And so there.
Y'all are here, the exception, North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Y'all connect the dots. I've already told y'all all this, right? Yes, it's all been on the Alpha Synergy News channel. Now you're hearing it from this journalist, Mr. Husseini. Yes, but let's continue on here with this. Let's continue.
Gain of function studies continued in those places.
The gain of function studies continued, and there was never a ban on gain of function work. There was simply
gain of function, meaning that men and women in laboratories, they will produce a virus that was probably not deadly contagious with humans. They will produce one that is deadly and contagious among humans. Gain of function. In other words, weaponizing it, where it could be used as a weapon against humans. That's right, weaponizing it. Or you could even use it against animals, livestock, pigs, chickens, ducks, cows, etc. You can do that. That's biowarfare. Because, humans eat all of those products. So you're still targeting the humans. But let's continue on with what Mr. Husseini has to say. Y'all are in the news round, y'all. Let's continue.
A pause in funding by the NIH of gain of function work, but there were even exceptions to that. And the funding of the lab in Wuhan, done also with a USAID.
But isn't NIAID, isn't Fauci's lab involved?
Yes, they granted the exemption for the funding, but the actual money was through USAID.
All right, you see the exemptions. You see the exemptions. You see the funding by Anthony Fauci. You see all of this by deep, deep state Fauci. The guy's been around a long, long time. Okay? Created SARS-2, and whatever is going to come after them. They are manufacturing these deadly pathogens, bringing communities and nations to their knees. That's right. And then having the gall to blame it on nature. Nature is a bioterrorist. The words of Anthony Deep State Fauci. But let's continue on here with what Mr. Husseini has to say.
USAID, which is basically the State Department, as well as a group called Eco Health Alliance. And this work was that kind of work, gain of function work. So they worked with viruses, with the labs in Wuhan, with US universities in order to make deadly pathogens potentially more deadly, ostensibly to protect, to say, what are the curveballs that nature can throw at us so that we can be.
So they made excuses. Well, we need to experiment with this. We need to produce this because if this was ever to happen, come out of nature, which would take hundreds and hundreds of years, if ever, then we would not have any defense. So we need to do this. All right. Those are lies. They're doing it because they are producing bioweapons. That's what they're doing. All right. Let's continue on here.
Better prepared so that we can fight against them. What are the curveballs that the terrorists can throw at us so that we can be better prepared? That's the ostensible reason, but they've, as we've seen, totally failed in their ostensible purpose. They've succeeded in creating more deadly pathogens, but they haven't succeeded in protecting us.
What is the...
All right.
Well, former...
Okay, we're bringing this to you.
Head of the Royal Scientific Society in 2014 called this kind of work incredibly dangerous and crazy, this gain of function work.
You quote Lord May, who's the former president of the Royal Society, is saying, the work they are doing is absolutely crazy. The whole thing is exceedingly dangerous. Yes, there is a danger, but it's not rising from the viruses out there in the animals. It's rising from the labs of grossly ambitious people.
Yeah, I mean, I think specifically he.
Now, did y'all hear that? It's what I've been telling you. It's not coming from these animals. It's coming from the laboratories. They're going out there, they're extracting these viruses out of these animals, taking it back to the laboratories, giving these viruses gain function, splicing things together with human DNA and animal viruses, and then creating pandemics, and then saying, well, we need money.
I think specifically he was talking there about the work that was done in Holland and the work that was done at the university.
And then saying we need money for a vaccine.